Hey guys, it's Kathleen with Thrifty Britches, back with, at long last, a What's Sold video. I am a part-time reseller and a full-time school counselor, and I have an eBay store with my sister Karen, who's a full-time kindergarten teacher and a part-time reseller. And together we make up Thrifty Britches. We started our eBay store back in the beginning of COVID, and it has just kind of grown and taken on a new life. And so if reselling content is something that you are into, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and the like button down below. And along with that, if you hit the notification bell down below, then you will be notified every time that we upload a video. We sell predominantly on eBay, Poshmark, and Mercari. However, we have branched out and started listing certain items on Facebook Marketplace, and we've had some success. I wouldn't say that it was a landslide by any means, but it is definitely getting us some additional sales. I am going to report to you this week all of the sales from April 3rd through April 10th. And let me tell you something, springtime slump is over. It has definitely started to pick up. So just for that week, we have had just shy of $600 in profit, and that is gross of fees. So I will go over all of the numbers at the end, so please stay tuned to the end so that you can hear exactly what our cost of goods was for this week's sales, as well as what our profit margin was. I'm going to start off with all of the eBay sales. So the first item that sold on April 3rd was this adorable beach lunch lounge plaid shirt. It is in a size extra large. We picked it up at the Salvation Army for $2.99 and it sold for $10. This was the first time that I have sold this brand, and I think I have another item that I put away until winter because it was like flannel or something like that by this brand. And so the results were kind of lackluster. I mean, you can see it sat around for a while. I've had it listed for several months, and then it only sold for $10. You know, I mean, we only paid $3 for it, but still, I don't think it's anything that I'm going to be going out of my way to pick up. Maybe if I can get it at a garage sale for $1 or $2, that might be a different story, but other than that, I'm probably just gonna pass on it going forward. Next is this Hillary Radley shirt, and Hillary Radley is also new to me. Hillary Radley is part of Stitch Fix. So this shirt was a really pretty, almost looked like corporate type of shirt, something that you would wear to work, and it was red with some white accents. It was also in a size extra large. We picked it up at Goodwill on half price day, so it was only $30, and we sold it for $14. These sandals I loved. You will probably remember them from a recent thrift haul. These are, and I'm not going to be able to say it correctly, but the way I say it is Waldlaufer. I don't know if that's right. It's from Scandinavia somewhere. Definitely more popular in the European countries, but these were new without the box. They were in a size 9, and they were really neat because the insole was actually Velcroed into the bottom of the sandal, and you could just lift it right out. So it was kind of little bit unique, and it had a nice cork wedge heel. We picked these up at the Salvation Army for $6.99, and they sold for $25, and they sold in about 2.5 weeks. Next is this Citrus Grove mug. We have had this listed for a hot minute. It's been listed for over 2.5 months. We grabbed it at the Goodwill store for 79 cents, and it sold for $14.99. I do not love to ship mugs, however, I do love to sell them. You can get them so cheap at Goodwill, and especially if you're getting anything special like Citrus Grove, or like especially the Starbucks mugs. And next is this Goodie pick. It is new old stock. It was still sealed in the package. I picked it up at a yard sale for only $1, and it sold for $10 overnight. This floral tunic in a size large is next. I really loved this shirt. I just thought it was so pretty. A lot of them do look a lot alike, but they seem to move for me. I did notice that I get a lot of action when I post and Torrid on Makari. Although this one did sell on eBay. Again, it was a size large. We picked this up at Goodwill for $6.99 and it sold for $15. This Free People navy lace tunic had these really beautiful, like long fluted sleeves. I can't remember what they call those sleeves when they're really I love any type of Free People that has this boho chic vibe, and this definitely had that going. And so we picked this up in a size large on half price day at Goodwill for only $3, and we flipped it for $18. Now this has been listed a little while too. I want to say about a month and a half. It could have been even 2 months, but it did finally sell. And I was surprised because it does have a definite winter vibe to it, but it sold for full asking price, so I was quite happy. This pair of Alfani wedges I got at an estate sale. I paid $2 for them. They're in a size 7.5 and they came in the box. So whenever I'm able to pick up a pair of shoes in their original box, it's just an easier sell. I guess people just feel like it's closer to new if it's coming in the box. I don't know. But they seem to move a little bit easier. These have been listed several months. I want to say I listed these before Christmas. Now I definitely listed these before Christmas, but they sold, and they sold for $14, and I took an offer of $14. I want to say I had them listed for about $20 and took an offer of $14 just to move them on out. Okay, y'all, so 2 weeks ago, you will remember I went to an estate sale / garage sale, and they were doing a bag of books for $1, and I scored all these different books. So these 15 Scooby-Doo books were in that pile of books that I got for $1. So I am maybe 50 cents into this lot of 15 Scooby-Doo Picture Clue Level 1 reading books. These sold within about 3 days of having been listed. Like I said, I'm only about 50 cents into it, and I think that's being generous, to be honest with you, and they sold for $30. I was super stoked about that. This Torrid olive shirt, it's kind of a button up. It has almost like a Henley look to it. It had the roll tab collars. No, it had the roll tab sleeves, and I like a roll tab sleeve, especially living in the South where, you know, you're going off to work in the morning and it's like 46 degrees, and then you're coming home and it's almost 80. So it gives you a little bit of versatility there with the wardrobe, which I like. This was in a size 2X, and again, it was Torrid, which I love to sell. It is a great bread and butter brand for Karen and I, and we picked it up at Goodwill for $5.99, and we sold it for $15. Another Starbucks mug, same deal, picked it up at Goodwill for 79 cents. This was the Architect Series, Collector Series from 2006. And this has been listed several months, listed it before the holidays, but hey, it did sell. I took an offer of $10 and was happy to move that on out for $10, especially since I only paid 79 cents for it. This Dickies Varsity jacket, you will remember, I picked it up at an indoor yard sale, and it was one of the Thrift With Me videos that I posted a couple of weeks ago. It was this big storage unit where a couple of people were just pretty much emptying out everything in their house and trying to get rid of it. And so this was hanging on a rack, and I looked at the comps and it looked halfway decent. I don't know a lot about vintage, but I am starting to pick up more and more vintage because it's moving for me. And I paid $3 for this extra large size men's varsity jacket. It had a couple of spots on the sleeves, but I took my mixture of 1 part peroxide, 1 part Dawn, and 1 part baking soda, and I smeared it all over it, let it sit for a couple of hours, and then threw it in the wash, and everything came out. So I was happy to sell this for $33. I think I mentioned in my last What Sold video that I was done with Athleta, and that was not true. I had another piece, and this was it. This is kind of like almost like a neon pink colored zipper jacket in a size small. It is ruched, so the sleeves were ruched and the side was ruched. It really had a pretty look to it. It had a little bit of mild pilling, but I just noted that in the listing. We picked it up for $5.99 at Goodwill, and I sold that for $22.99. And the last thing from eBay are these blender balls. These are all new in the package. They were 79 cents each at Goodwill, so paid a little bit over $3 for it, maybe $3.20, $3.30, something along those lines, and all 4 of them sold in a lot together for $10. Okay, I'm moving on now to my Poshmark sales. So the first thing I sold on Poshmark this week is this pair of Chico's Travelers cropped pants. Chico's Travelers just isn't moving so much for me. They tend to hang around a little bit. Now this pair didn't hang around all that long. I think I had them listed for about 2 months, but I think they're kind of falling out of style or out of favor or whatever, however you want to characterize it. These were in a size 0, which I think converts to about a size extra small. We picked them up at Goodwill for $3 on half price day, and we flipped them for only $12. So you see what I mean? They're just meh, you know, they're just okay. I'm to the point with Chico's where I'm picking up Chico's that is new with tags and pretty much leaving everything else. Next up is this new with tags Crown and Ivy Paisley cardigan. This was another surprise to me. I didn't expect this to sell during the season. I thought I had kind of missed the window since everything is kind of moving into spring and summer. I had picked this up in a size large at Goodwill for $5.99, and I accepted an offer of $16 on it. Next to sell is this Matilda Jane cardigan. It was in a really pretty burnt orange color. It's an open knit. I loved this cardigan. This was in a size large, and it had like a pretty V-neck, just a really, really nice piece. I picked it up in a garage sale for $3, and it sold for $27. Next is this pair of Brighton red wedges. They were really, really pretty. They had this pretty silver buckle detail on the side. I loved these shoes. I listed them a little bit after the holidays, sometime in January. They were in a size 6.5. We picked them up at Goodwill for $5.99, and they sold for $25. Next is this pair of T-Rex Vans in a youth size 8. These surprised me. I thought these were really, really unique, and I just expected them to fly right out the door, and they did not. I mean, they have hung around for 3 months easy. It might be a little bit longer. So we picked these up at a yard sale for only $2, and they eventually sold on an offer for $12. And I just took the offer. I think I had them listed right around $20, $22, somewhere around there, and just took the offer because they had just sat, and I had gotten a couple of really lowball offers, like $5 and $6, and I thought, no, I'm just gonna hold out and see what happens. So at least, you know, I sold it for $12, so that's double a $5 or $6 offer, but nonetheless, they didn't do nearly as well as I had expected. And the last thing that sold on Poshmark during this week is this pair of Chocos. And so these black basic Chocos are, they have written on the inside Z/2, which meant nothing to me. I'm not really a Chocos girl. I have one pair and that's about it. So I don't know a lot about them. And apparently this is some classic style, because when I would search in eBay to do my comps, Z/2 kept coming up. So I put that in the description, and they sold literally in an hour. They didn't sell at full asking price, but I only have them listed for $34, and they offered $30, so I was like, oh, peace out, take them. It's nice to move inventory. I just like getting stuff out the door and making room for the new stuff. Next, I'm going to talk about my Makari sales. I had a couple. I had more than usual. I have told you that I have switched over to doing free shipping on Mercari, and I'm just building it into the price. It's just a lot easier, and then I'm using Pirate Ship. I was doing that because Mercari had such kind of like an ass backwards way of doing shipping. They give you like 3 choices, one of which was UPS, which to me, that's a hassle. And so it's just much easier for me to use USPS because they will come right to my door and pick up my stuff. But anyway, they have changed their shipping program. And so there is one item that I chose not to do pirate shipping because I just thought it was going to be a real pain in the fanny. So starting off, I sold these Conair Clips, which I picked up at a yard sale a couple of weeks ago. It was in a Thrift With Me video that I uploaded a few weeks ago, and I paid only $2 for those, and they sold for $16. Next was this Powerpuff Girls book. This sold overnight from having listed it, and it sold on an offer of $6. I had it listed for $8, and so they offered $6, and I took that. This was in that bag of books for $1. And so I am not more than 10 cents into this Powerpuffs book, and it sold for $6. But the real exciting sale were these micro jammers. I picked these up 2 weeks ago at a yard sale. I paid 50 cents a piece. So I am $2 in, and they sold for $70. I was super stoked about that. Next was this Satsuma teapot and cups. I picked this up and featured it in a Thrift With Me video. I don't know if y'all remember, but I was super stoked because I thought, oh, this is gonna go for like $100. And then, no, I had apparently the only teapot made by Satsuma that doesn't sell for $100. And so I just listed it for $34 and just kind of let it ride. And it is sat for over a month and a half. And then out of nowhere, somebody just bought it outright. Didn't even make an offer. So I was kind of pumped about that. I paid only $6 for it at a yard sale, and it's moving on out for $34. So it ended up not being such a bad deal after all. Next was this Step Paris Limoges perfume bottle. I don't know anything about these perfume bottles. I know I've heard Limoges before, but I really have no experience selling it before, and I was very doubtful. I've actually had these in my death pile for probably about 8 or 9 months, and just pulled them out the other day and thought, oh, they're small, I'll stick them in my photo box and list them, it'll be easy. And I have actually 2 of these, 2 of the same ones. So I put that one up, went on to list the Chocos, and by the time I came back and had listed the Chocos, this bottle had sold on Mercari. Karen picked it up at an estate sale for $5, and we sold it for $16. Next and last is this Techno Robotic Dog. This is a pug. Karen picked this up at a fill-a-bag sale. So we are not more than $1 into this dog. This is another item that I have had in my death pile probably for about 5 months, 4 or 5 months, because I really just didn't know what to do with him. And so I finally popped in batteries to make sure that he worked. He worked great, as far as I can tell. I mean, he barked, he moved, he wagged his tail. So I'm assuming that's all he's supposed to do. It has this cute little remote control that just plugs into its butt, and you can kind of make him do all different things, and that was really cool. So I started looking up comps, and all of these other dogs, these silver dogs, were coming up, and they were only selling for like $10, $8, $12. And I thought, oh, hell, I'm going to go through all of this, because you put in all the time and the effort. You want to get a little bit better return. I mean, I know it was only $1, but nonetheless. And so I couldn't find this dog. And finally, I just did a Google search, putting in every descriptor that I could think of. And I found a couple of pictures under Google Images that matched him. And it turns out he is a little bit hard to find. And obviously, since he was hard for me to find, I decided just to put it up there for $30 and see what happens. And then if it sits around for 3 months, 4 months, then maybe I'll think about doing an auction. But I decided to take a chance since I couldn't find any of him in the solds and I couldn't find any of him listed. And so I put him up there as hard to find pug, techno robotic dog. And the next morning I woke up and he had sold on Mercari for my full asking price of $30. And this was the one that I did Mercari shipping, because Mercari has changed their shipping. And so I knew he weighed 3 pounds. And so I just put him as priority mail up to 5 pounds and just did it that way. And this way I didn't have to deal with having to weigh it and measure it and go on pirate ship and all of that jazz. So that is it for Makari Sales. And the last platform that we had any sales this week was on Facebook Marketplace. Facebook Marketplace, I did really well with stuff I had gotten for free. And so I had gotten this Monet 2-in-1 shampoo. I had gotten that as kind of a freebie. Well, they call it a freebie, but I paid like $103 for my shampoo. So they threw that in for free. But anyway, I decided I don't need it. So I decided to just sell it. I really didn't have a good feel for what to sell it for, but it was brand new in the package. And so I listed it for $10 and it sold on Facebook Marketplace for $10. So I was super stoked about that. And I consider my cost of goods $0 for that because it was technically a freebie. Next were 2 purses that sold on Facebook Marketplace, and these were compliments of my mom. So shout out to Ellen. Thank you, Mom, for sending us those purses. She sent us 5 purses that she had picked up in her travels, and so far 4 out of the 5 have sold. So that's pretty awesome. And so 2 of them sold just this week. The first one is this Rossetti linen blend purse. It was new with tags and originally sold for right around $60. And so we listed that for $30, and it sold within 2 days of listing it on Facebook Marketplace for $30. And the last one is this Vera Radley Suzanni Claire crossbody purse. This was new without tags, and again, cost of goods was $0, and it sold within about 2 weeks of having listed it for $18. Okay, so for the period from April 3rd to April 10th, we sold a total of 29 items with a cost of goods of $86.06, which makes an average cost of goods of $2.97. I think that's a little bit low for us, and that's just because of the free items that we got from our mom. If I use 20% as an estimate for the fees that we paid across all of the platforms, which I think is a little bit high for fees, but we'll be conservative, then we're taking out fees in the amount of $118.79, which leaves us with a profit for this week of $389.12. And that's pretty good for us. That's definitely up from what it had been in January, February, and March. So we are really happy to see the end of springtime slump, and hoping that those numbers are just going to go up and up. I'm starting to look into branching out and listing some of our inventory over on Etsy. I've never done Etsy before, so let me know in the comments if you've done Etsy and if you've had some luck selling things on Etsy. I think I'm going to start with just kind of our vintage pieces, because I've heard from watching other resellers on YouTube that a lot of the vintage pieces will do fairly well on Etsy. So I figure we might as well give it a stab and see how it goes. All right, guys, that is everything for this week. Thank you again for joining us. And if you like reselling content like What Sold videos and Thrift With Me videos, please go ahead and hit the like and subscribe button down below. Also hit the bell notification so that you can get notified when we upload our next videos. Thanks again for being a part of our little community here. And remember, guys, it's not cheap, it's thrifty. I will see you again on Wednesday. Bye, guys.